enough sweat and tears, then private plane. We always are the same, you know enough of them would hype with fame. Now forget the break and a try pull style.
Hello, blessings and honor. Welcome one more time on this fourth episode of Indepth podcast with yours truly, Prado. Today, we're in New Kingston. Exactly, we're at Ligani Club, where you're going to hear some noise because we're in the epicenter of Jamaica, which is New Kingston. So you might hear a few horns and sounds. Don't worry about it. It's because we're outside. But today, we have a very, very, very special guest. Someone who has actually made history in our country already. So, with all pleasure, I want to welcome Indepth podcast family. I want you to give me a hand in welcoming the most honorable Fayval Williams, MP for Eastern Kingston. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here.
And from the constituency of St. Andrew Eastern.
Yes, the constituency of St. Andrew
Andrew
Eastern.
Eastern,
I stand
yes.
corrected. Yes, so Miss Williams, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you. And as I said earlier, you have made history because some people might not know that in March, when you opened the budget, you were the first female
Yes,
Minister of
yes.
Finance. Okay?
yes.
So people need to know it. You were also the first Minister of Education. Female Minister of Education. No?
No, I don't have that honor.
No?
No, you've had female ministers of education before me.
Okay.
But it was an honor for me to serve at the
Okay.
Ministry of Education and
Okay.
Youth at the time.
Yes.
As you know, that is one of the largest ministries in
Yes.
Jamaica
Yes.
in terms of the budget that it commands, in
Right.
terms of the number of persons,
Mhm.
children, parents, teachers. It's
Yes.
just a very large ministry within Jamaica,
Yes.
and one that we have great expectations
Exactly, you have to.
because education is the key
Mhm.
for improvement, for upward mobility. And so there are great expectations from the education sector.
Yes, because it's the foundation of our future.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
When you inherited that position, it was during a very challenging time, COVID-19.
Yes, in the middle
In
of
the middle of
COVID-19.
COVID-19. I
Yes,
remember that like it was yesterday.
yes.
No, how do you think we fared during that time?
We fared very well. At the time when I started, all the children and teachers were at home. This was in
Right.
September
Yes,
of 2020.
I remember.
And we took it on and we immediately began to distribute devices to students and teachers so that
Right.
they could engage in the virtual space.
Mhm.
If you recall, at that time, the virtual space was something we were all learning about, and we were able, just within a very short period of time, to get all our students onto the virtual learning platform
Right,
because we already had it within the ministry.
right.
So it was just, to distribute the address to all our students and teachers, do some
That must have
training.
been very tedious.
No.
No?
We're very good IT persons at the
Okay.
ministry.
Okay.
And once you have an email address, things can be disseminated very
Okay.
quickly.
Yes.
And this was all new and exciting, even
At the
though we
same
were in
time.
COVID
Yes.
and having to manage our way through that. But it was good that we had these systems at
In-
the ministry
okay.
to be able to deploy in like record time.
Mhm.
And in no time, teachers and students were in the virtual space.
And we're
And we were able to continue
with
our education. Yes.
Right. So actually making it back to the full course of students going back into school. I remember at one time when I read and it was like 75%, and you said this is not enough because we're not at the
Right,
world
yeah.
standards.
Yeah.
Going back into the full space of education and transitioning from doing so much work within that sector and going into the sector that you're actually in now,
Mhm.
is there you miss it a little bit, or is it something? What do you prefer? Because reading and knowing about you, you're a financial genius.
Right. So I'm back in a space
Mm,
in which I know that's the professional space in which
right.
I've been operating.
Mm,
But at the same time, I have to say that my experience in the Ministry of Education and Youth
mhm.
was an excellent one.
Right.
It gave me a chance to manage a very large system, to move it
Right.
along. There are many
Yes.
things that we did there.
Yes, Maria. Name a few.
Again, the continuing education
Hmm.
in an emergency, that is, that experience
Yes.
it was one that you learned on the job,
Right.
and
Wow.
it worked for us while
Yes.
it was happening, and
Mm,
we've continued with technology in education,
right.
to the point now where it's just secondhand,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah,
For
it is. It
children, and
is. It
yeah,
is. It
yeah,
is.
yeah.
But Miss Williams, I have a little issue with kids and devices at
Uh-huh.
school.
Hmm.
I feel like this is just my personal.
Uh-huh.
I think that sometimes it takes away from the kids focusing when they have their phones readily available like that, and it takes away from. Although they need their phones for a lot of schoolwork, also, I think should be some balance within
Well,
that.
it needs to be managed
Yeah.
in the school environment.
Mhm.
Obviously, if you have a very good teacher who is
Yes.
adept at technology,
Yes.
they can engage the students in ways you can't do, just one on one.
Okay.
Because I have watched children play games on their phones,
Yes.
and they have a concentration that
That
is
is true. Believable.
unbelievable. And if
Yes.
you can harness
Yes.
that concentration, I think we'll be just leaps and bounds ahead.
Right.
I'm going to say there has to be boundaries
Right.
on the phone, the use of the phone.
Mhm.
There is etiquette about where and when you use your phone and all of that. And these are the things we should be teaching
Right.
our students, our children,
Yeah. Which
because
actually
technology is here to stay.
it is. It is not going
And
anywhere.
we have to learn to use it for good,
Mhm.
versus those people who use it for bad.
Right.
And
Right.
we know who they are. So we have to teach our children, how to use it in
Mhm.
your life so that
Yes.
it can enhance your
Yes.
life,
Yes.
right? Because when they go into the work world,
Hmm.
there it is again,
Yes.
and they have to use it in the work world.
I would say that when I heard you got Minister of Finance, and I said to myself, knowing Miss Williams,
Mhm.
graduating from high school,
Mhm.
you left from high school and went to the Bank of Nova Scotia
Mhm.
as a teller, bank teller. So right away you're into finances, right? So, and then you went on and you are a professional certified financial analyst, right? By profession. And then you went on to get your BA in economics
Yeah.
from Harvard.
I see you've done a lot of homework.
Yes, I have. And I believe that someone with your type of background
Mhm.
is very good for our financial state right now. Now, what do you see as something that will affect the everyday Jamaican going forward in the financial sector? Because people want to raise a pay, people always say there's not enough money, we're in a bad state economically. What would you say to those people?
Well, for those people for who feel that they haven't achieved
Mhm.
what they need to achieve just yet, I'd like to say to them, remember, Rome wasn't built in a day,
True.
right?
Very true.
We have to practice putting aside something of what we earned. It doesn't matter how small those earnings are. We put aside something, just like a grandmother used
Right.
to do
Right.
in long ago time. I mean, there was recently a video online that I saw, and this young man was encouraging people
To do the right thing.
to start. Don't wait for that big thing to happen to you,
Yes,
right?
yes,
He was
yes.
saying, you see this big mansion.
And
You
people,
don't know that it's one room at a time that
exactly.
person put together to get to a mansion.
Right.
So begin with that little thing now. Don't wait for the big thing you think is gonna fall in your lap, right?
Right.
Just
I
keep
think, and also
moving.
think, as you say that, the other day there was some discussion
Uh-huh.
about something that you said about Probox and cars and so forth. Can you expound on that and explain
Sure.
exactly what you mean?
Absolutely. I was on an interview
Yes.
and, they were talking about the, the quantum
Mm.
of the threshold increase
Right.
that we had announced.
Mm.
And my take on it was, I was encouraging people
Mm.
to save because this is something that you're going to get that you didn't have
Before.
before,
Mm.
to just put it aside.
Mm.
And by the end of the period, which is 3 years, you would have some amount of money that you can do
Right. You can
something
do.
with.
You can put
And,
do it
it
whatever
was
with.
as a for instance,
Mm.
I did say you could use it, the accumulated amount on a deposit
Okay.
towards,
Okay.
the purchase of a Probox. And
Right.
suddenly, all
Yeah.
kind of people took it up and said false things. I never said you could
Right.
buy a Probox with $2,000. That's
That's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Right. So you just think that was a play on politics, basically.
It was, because if you go back to the video and you listen to what I said, you would know that it was more encouraging
Mhm.
you to save, put aside, so that you can get enough to at least begin on the journey towards getting that thing that you want.
You want. That's and I think that's fair, and I'm happy that you were able to explain yourself,
Yeah,
so people can understand where you were coming from. Because
absolutely.
in this very upcoming season, when a lot of politics is going to
Yeah,
be played,
yeah.
people sometimes just go off what is popular.
Right,
What is
right.
trending, and how something is edited or cut and presented to people.
Exactly. With social media,
Right.
you put things out there and people just run with what it is that they see. They
Yeah.
don't sometimes think about
Yeah.
what is the information am I getting? Is it correct? Is it true?
Right.
Because on social media you have to be discerning.
Mm.
You have to always ask the question, who is saying this? Why are they saying it?
Right.
Is this true? You can't just absorb everything and believe everything
Right.
that you
Right.
see on social
Okay.
media.
As Minister of Finance,
Uh-huh.
it's finance and
The public
the
service.
public service.
Mhm.
What exactly, in a nutshell, is your responsibility to Jamaica and our nation and its people? What's your
Sure. So, a primary responsibility is the prudent management
Mhm.
of the financial resources of Jamaica. So each year we have to come to the people of Jamaica with a budget. We have to explain how that budget is going to be financed. So we have to explain what are the programs. As you know, we have the way we're structured in Jamaica, we have ministries, and it's through the ministries that the programs are executed. So each ministry gets an allocation of the budget in order to carry out their plans in that budget. So, for example, the education ministry,
Mhm.
where I was minister, they get the largest share of the budget.
Okay.
And it's a large ministry in terms of the number of students,
Students,
number of
right,
teachers,
right.
and so on. The pay bill there, the wage bill in the Ministry of Education is quite large.
Yes.
But they also do a lot through the ministry's execution of the PATH program,
Yes.
which is a school feeding program.
Yes.
They have a transportation program.
Yes.
The government provides books and devices for students and so on. So there's a lot that happens through the various ministries.
Okay, Indepth family. Sometimes I have to actually look into my phone because I have questions specifically written to ask our Minister of Finance, Miss Williams. Now, what measures is your administration taking to address inflation and its impact on everyday Jamaicans?
All right. So that's a good question. Over the years, over the history of Jamaica, when you look back on
Yes.
the inflation,
Mhm.
it has been like a roller coaster ride. If you go back, in the 70s in particular,
True.
inflation got up to like
Oh.
80%.
Yes, yes.
I mean, huge inflation that we've suffered in this country.
Yes.
Over the last 10 years,
Mhm.
if you compare the history,
Yes.
we have done much better
Okay.
in managing inflation.
Oh, okay.
Our Bank of Jamaica is the entity that helps to manage the inflation in the country.
Yes.
And so we have a policy as a government for inflation to be within 4 to 6% range.
Okay.
And if it goes outside of that, let's say it gets higher than 6% and stays, looks like it's going to stay that way or get higher, then the Bank of Jamaica will act to bring it back into the
Okay.
4 to 6% range. I know that during Hurricane Beryl, well, not during, after Hurricane Beryl,
Yes.
which the agricultural sector was devastated.
All 14
Oh,
parishes.
yeah.
All 14
And
parishes.
so we saw in the aftermath of that increase in food prices because
Yes.
obviously all the banana trees were
Yes.
blown down,
Yes, yes.
your yam gone, tomatoes,
Right.
all the vegetables, everything. So we had a spike in food prices in
Yes.
Jamaica. With the recovery in the agricultural sector, you're seeing a moderation. You're seeing prices go down.
Yes.
Because if you remember, like sweet pepper prices were high. Now,
Yes, yes.
now things are down. They're
things are
more manageable,
affordable.
more affordable now. But in terms of the big overall picture, inflation is managed in our countries. You know, unless it's moments like those when we have hurricanes and so forth,
Right.
that you see it,
It
go outside
spikes
of the band.
norm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. How are you balancing the need to how are you balancing the need to fiscal discipline with social spending priorities?
we have prioritized social spending, and I can give you a list.
Okay.
So, for example, the PATH program
Yes.
has been there through thick and thin, right? And you know, PATH is for persons with children and so
Yes.
on. The school feeding program, you know, has been there through all kind of weather as well. School transportation for some of the PATH students, that's been there. Social housing during our administration. Social housing has ramped up. These are the houses that the Prime Minister
Yes.
would go out and hand over the keys to
Yes.
needy families.
Right.
A lot of times they're living in just conditions
Deplorable conditions, yes.
and they will get a nice block and steel house. That a lot of times when I see these videos, people are crying because
Of course. They never dreamt that they would have this.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
So we have not taken our eyes off of social programs. And just recently, the Prime Minister announced the Solidarity Program, $1 billion to help persons who are not currently receiving any government, you know, social program, they haven't received any benefit.
Yes.
So they can look forward to registering with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security
Nice.
to get some of that. So we've always had a commitment to social programs.
That's good. And I hope you guys have a commitment to the entertainers. Entertainers, I'm looking out for you. Because I see that we have a need to have something instilled for. There's a lot of entertainers out there. This is not your
Right.
department.
Ministry,
But, of course, everything falls in your department at some point because it's financing. And so that's something I've always wanted to know. Like, how would entertainers get social security or some kind of backing when they get old, for example?
So I know Minister Grange has been working in her ministry. Her heart is so big for the entertainment world, for sports, for you know, all the different persons there. And I know that she worked to get an insurance in place.
Okay.
There are some other programs that she has. Whatever she can do, I know that she is doing and will continue to do. But I, you know, it sounds like there needs to be a bigger conversation.
Yes, there needs to be a bigger conversation with her.
And I'm sure she's very willing.
Yes, I recently seen her at the Grand Slam.
Yes.
Yes, she was there, and she was there every day, and she was enjoying herself, and she was very engaging. And I do believe that she really wants the best for that.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
has a love, she has a passion
A
for
passion
entertainment
for
and
all
sports. Yeah, she
segments
does.
of it.
She
She
does.
does.
What is your strategy for attracting foreign direct investment to Jamaica, particularly in emerging sectors?
Okay. Um, I'm glad you said emerging sectors
Emerging.
because traditionally we've done the heavy industries. So if you go back in our history,
Mm.
we've had, bauxite. Remember we
Yes,
discovered
yes, yes.
bauxite here,
Bauxite
and
is yes,
that
yes,
was an
yes.
emerging industry
Yeah.
at the time. Tourism has been another industry that we have been excelling in.
Yes.
We have recognized that Jamaica is the entertainment capital
What of the world?
of the world, the sports capital of the world. And you can see that we're beginning
Yes,
to really capitalize on these by attracting
yes.
artists from around the
From
world
around
to
the world to
come
come here.
here. And that gives a platform as well for our artists who not only perform here, but they go abroad and they wow audiences abroad. I can see things coming together. You can see it. You
Yes,
can you know
you can feel
you
it.
can feel it
Yes, that's true.
coming together. It's like we're on the huge global stage
Yes,
in a lot of different ways. You mentioned the Grand Slam earlier on, first
yes,
of its kind,
yes, and
right here in Jamaica. It
yes, it
was
was
launched
top of
and
the
it was
line. It was
yes,
really nice. It
it
was
was
really nice.
it was
It was really something to
yeah
see.
yeah
Now small businesses
uh-huh.
are the backbone of Jamaica. How do you plan on supporting small businesses going forward?
We fully understand the importance of small business. We call them the MSMEs, right?
Yes.
Um, in terms of their contribution to employment, a lot of the workforce is employed by small to medium
Yes.
enterprises in terms of their contribution to the tax base and so forth. So we understand their importance in the economy. And recently, during my budget debate,
Yes.
you would have heard us emphasize the amount of funding that's going to the DBJ, Development Bank of Jamaica, to be unlent to small businesses, about
Really?
$2 billion for
Wow.
this financial year to be unlent to
So
small
when
businesses.
will something like that be available to small business, and what kind of requirements? Because a lot
Well,
of
you'd
small
have
business
to,
owners don't
I know,
have.
you have to go into the DBJ
Okay.
or,
Okay.
one of their affiliated
That's a good
banks.
direction.
But you said, small businesses, some of them don't know or don't have.
They don't have the idea.
Right. So through the DBJ and other entities like, Jampro, there's a lot of technical assistance
Okay.
for small businesses because we understand that they might not be able to hire on, expensive accountants and auditors
Exactly.
and
Yes.
financial people
And then they
to
might
do
have
all
the
the things
history to
that
show that this is
right,
what they
right.
can do, because
So
they might not have been depositing or
yeah,
whatever. So I'm
right.
just asking,
So
where do they go? So they go to they go to the
DBJ is a
DBJ.
good start.
Okay.
Exim Bank is another area.
Okay.
Jampro, if they're looking at exporting, if they're doing things for the export market, those are good places to begin the conversation,
Okay.
right? To help to guide you.
Recently, President Trump announced that there's going to be a 10% tariffs
Right.
on Jamaica. Can you tell me how that is going to affect us? When will it start? What's going on
Okay.
with that?
All right. So the whole world heard the announcement
Yes.
about the increased tariffs, not just for Jamaica, but for many countries
Many countries,
globally,
some more than us also. Then.
globally. If you read the economic literature, it will tell you that when you raise tariffs or when you raise taxes, it increases prices, right? So it may begin to we may begin to see a little bit higher inflation. A lot of countries are just assessing the information to see what's going to be the impact on them. But for us, we export goods to the US, and for the US to put 10% more tariff on it means it's going to be, more expensive for customers in the US to buy when American goods come here. You know, we have the 10% tax on it as well, or whatever else we charge on the goods that come here. So it's going to have kind of the first round effect of raising prices a little bit until consumers and businesses, figure out what, right, because there's going to be a lot of rebalancing. That's a good word.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of rebalancing that's happening on the part of consumers, but also on the part of businesses, on the part of shipping companies.
Yes.
Just it's going to be a lot of rebalancing happening.
Because I see where the Canadians are fighting back and other countries are fighting back, but we're just a small little island. So I'm wondering, do we fight back do we have anything to fight with?
Well, I don't, yeah, I hope.
Or do we just leave it and accept what they're doing?
I hope you saw and listened to the Prime Minister recently when, right?
I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing. I'm going to be honest. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing, but I was there when he was answering it, and I got distracted.
So it's we do have a very strong Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Right.
We have diplomatic relationships with many countries, and the Prime Minister has indicated that we will use those diplomatic channels as a country.
Okay. Well, we have to stand for something at times, and I'm happy that we can look at it where I know that we have to be a little more careful than a lot of other places around the world, but as long as we can stand and say, okay, this is what you're doing, and we're going to stand on our ground. And I don't know if it's a fight. I don't know if it's a battle. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on with President Trump.
As I said, all countries I know are assessing the situation currently.
Now, Ms. Williams, a lot of people, this is an Indepth podcast, so we want to know a little bit more about Mrs. Williams. Okay. Right? Mrs. Williams means you're married.
Yes.
Happily married.
To the same person.
Praise God. Hallelujah. So we have a decent finance minister of finance. That's beautiful.
Somebody who I met when I was in business school. He was also in business school as well.
Yes.
And we got married. Graduated first, got married, started having children. I have 2 beautiful daughters.
Wow.
Yes,
nice.
yes. One of them is in the entertainment business as well.
Okay, I didn't know
but
that.
in theater.
That's entertainment. That's a big entertainment. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, and our other daughter is completing college. So
nice. That's so beautiful. Miss Williams, remember I told you before we started the interview that I thought you were only child.
No, I'm one of 9.
No, 9 kids. Yes. So people of Jamaica, Miss Williams know for sure.
Yes,
she's have to know for sure. She have to cut that dumpling there.
And to live together.
To live
together with your siblings. Not all of us were at home at
the same time.
No. So, but
are you one of the
it was
eldest?
great to grow up. No, I was more towards the end.
So
it was great to grow up with a large family.
Yes, that's beautiful.
You had sisters and brothers who were working and they're always coming back with goodies.
Oh yes, that's nice.
So it was good.
So this was in St. Anne?
No, St. Catherine. St. Catherine is where I grew up in Tydixton.
Tydixton. I actually knew that. I just wanted you to say.
Okay.
Yes, but that's nice. So how would you
characterize?
Yes. Where I'm from. Brain freeze. How would you characterize
where I'm from? Rural community.
Yes.
Quiet. No violence.
Beautiful.
No gun violence. Maybe once in a while, like during Christmas, when the men drank a little bit. No gun.
No pie.
No gun.
Okay.
Just during Christmas, when men would drink a little bit more than they should,
yes.
they may have a fist fight or something like that.
Wow.
I didn't grow up with any gunshots around
Whoa,
at
whoa.
all. It's
Listen,
all foreign to
I
me, I have to
and
tell you.
it's people need to hear that there's places like this in Jamaica
Yes,
because people out of Jamaica think that everywhere in Jamaica there's craziness happening because that's what the media
right.
focuses on.
I'm
But
here
it's
to
really
tell
nice
you.
to hear that you
And
grew up.
even now, you go by there, quiet community, everybody knows everybody.
Yes,
A community that has several churches. You could go Saturday, Sunday, people are going to church midweek for prayer meeting and all of that. There's a primary school there, Ty Dixon Primary School.
yes,
So people really appreciate and commit to education in
yes.
that area. But if you have to go to high school, then you have to leave and go to a bigger
The high school you
place.
went to is
Ferncourt High School in
Fernport High School.
Claremont, St. Anne. So
Yes,
maybe that's where you got St.
yes,
Anne
that's where
from.
it is. Yes,
Claremont, St. Anne, that was where I went to. So that meant I had to leave home.
early in the morning.
Well, no, I had to leave home
Oh, you
and go
left home.
live with somebody
Oh, wow, how was that
in
experience?
Claremont. Um, Looking back, it was a great experience.
Yes,
It helped me to find myself. You had to manage yourself and
better.
manage your time
Mhm.
and do all of that because you didn't have your parents around
Yes,
to kind of guide you. So
yes.
you had to learn how to be independent. But at the same time, we were living with a family in another family's home. So we had
Right.
to learn how to
Coexist.
navigate and coexist. That's a
Yes.
very good word as well.
Right. I have similar experiences growing up having to be with another family while my
Uh-huh.
parents were working
Uh-huh.
somewhere else. And it do builds a certain self, you have to be
Yes,
independent. You
yes,
have to
you have
take
to.
care of yourself. The moment you're there for wash your clothes for you have to do
Exactly. You
that.
have
So
to
you have
get
to
up
do
and
that.
wash it, do your
Yes.
hair, do everything,
Right.
and
Right.
help guide yourself through life.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I think that in these times, we need people with balance. Like, I'm sure you hear about a lot of the violence and a lot of the crime that's happening in Jamaica. And moving forward, how do you feel that your party is going to help towards? I know that's not your field, Arthur, and I'm asking about something, but you're a Jamaican,
Right,
just as
and
I
I
am,
live here,
and you live
and I
here.
hope you're paying attention to the statistics, the numbers that the Minister of National Security and the JCF talk about.
Yes.
There's a real effort
Okay.
that has been underway for some time now
Mhm.
to get violence, especially murders,
Yes.
down,
Yes.
significantly down
Yes.
in this
Yes.
country, and we are making headways on it
Yes.
as per the numbers that are published. Year on year, when you look at the numbers, the trend is down, and that is so good for
Yes.
us
Very good.
because
What?
studies have shown that there's a very negative impact on your economy from violence. So
Yes.
it depresses investments
Yes.
and all of that. Businesses that may want to open all night,
Yes.
they have to think
Oh,
about the
the
cost of
yes.
security and so
Security.
on.
Yes.
So it's great. It's just a lot of effort has gone
Okay.
into getting the crime down in Jamaica. And the Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, the JCF, JDF, I know that a lot has gone into getting it moving in the direction in which it has been moving. A lot has been invested
Mhm.
in purchasing equipment, vehicles, boats, helicopters, and so
Do
on.
you? So, what specific measures are you and your department implementing to handle youth unemployment?
Well, I have to say, youth unemployment is significantly down.
It is.
It is
I
significantly
think that
down.
is true.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
One of the programs in education that I launched when I was there was the Sixth Form Pathways program. So we were able to give our young people 2 additional years
Okay.
of high school.
Okay.
Traditionally, they would leave by about 16, by the time they were 16 years old.
Yes.
They're not ready yet, really, for the world of work and all of that.
Right.
So, an additional 2 years where they learn skills, give them a chance to repeat subjects if they didn't make those subjects the first time. That has significantly helped our young people. Heart, which is a training arm, they have so many programs that are available. And you can't say, oh, I don't have any bus fare, because you get a stipend to go to Heart to learn a skill, whatever the skill is that you want. So a lot has gone in to ensuring that our young people have opportunities, not just the academic pathway, but looking at all these programs that are offered by Heart, they're viable options. Because
Yes.
I'm sure, well, the last time I needed a plumber,
Yes.
one, it took a long time to find a good plumber.
Really?
And when they came, the amount they charged was,
Yeah. So
but
listen, these skills are not only good for here, it's good worldwide. When you are a plumber, you can
because
travel and do this
you get
anywhere.
certification.
Yes.
You get certification, and that is your passport
Right.
to the world, because
Yes.
our certification here is recognized in different countries as well. So
Okay. Very good. So, how would you describe our future? We're coming to a close soon. But how would you describe our financial future from now until the next 4 years? What do you look forward to? What can Jamaicans look forward to? You being our finance minister, which you are a genius in this sector, because we haven't even dwelled into how much people don't know that. What did you do at JMMB before?
oh, I was their head of investments.
And in
Head of
America, how would you
investments.
describe your
Just
think it was
a lot of different sectors within
all
the
finances?
financial sector. Yeah,
So you're actually in your profession, your
my field of
field,
study, and
your
my
field
field
of
of
study.
work. My field.
So that is why I'm asking you this question, because I am not telling anyone to say go and vote JLP or go and vote PNP. I am simply telling people a fact that you are someone that is fully prepared for your position. So that's the question I'm asking you.
Okay.
How and what do we look forward to as Jamaicans for our financial years, our fiscal years moving forward?
So I want all Jamaicans to understand that stability in the economy is a good thing to have happen, and that has been happening over the last several years. Stability means you don't have runaway inflation. You have interest rates, though we may think they're a little bit high now, but you've had interest rates that are within a certain band. We have been able to put together as a government just disaster protection, right? Meaning, just as an example, we had a nasty hurricane Beryl, right, that took down several sectors, but we were able to recover quickly. Why? Because we had resources that we could pull on. And those resources, when we pull down on them, we build it back up. And so that's there for us to be prepared for the next hurricane, because we live in a hurricane belt, right? Jamaica is situated geographically, so we have to be prepared. Additionally, you always hear us talk about the net international reserves, which is the US dollars that we have. That's another cushion that we have against the vagaries of the external world, right? It's the monies to buy goods and services from external sources, and it's at record high. That's another cushion that we have. So we have been building resilience into our economy.
Okay.
to give persons like you
Yes.
and in the entertainment world and in other sectors the confidence to make investments,
Yes.
to look out in
Yes.
the long term, to look out over the medium term, the long term, and say, I am going to put my stake in Jamaica. I'm going to buy a house in Jamaica. That's very
Exactly.
permanent, right?
Yes,
I'm
that
going to
is.
send my kids to
To
school
in
here
yes.
because of the culture, and you want
The
them
growth,
to, and
prosperity,
all of that.
Mhm.
And it's because you're able to layer on this stability. You're able to say, okay, we have a stable foundation in Jamaica. Crime is coming down, inflation is under control, businesses are here. We can get all the things that we need in Jamaica. We don't have to go outside to get it.
Right.
Entertainment industry is great. Tourism is good, and those are the things you want because it encourages people
Yes.
to build here in Jamaica, build in a lot of different ways, not
Right.
just physically build a building, but build their lives
Yes.
here and build their businesses here.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. So at Indepth, we want you to tell us something. Tell us something nobody knows about Miss Williams. Just Indepth podcast is going to know.
Oh wow. Oh. All right. Maybe not a lot of people. I know two things I can tell you. Maybe
Yes.
not a lot of people know that I gave up my US citizenship to
Oh, wow.
enter politics in Jamaica.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Oh, that's
And maybe a lot of people don't know that I'm a 5 a.m.er. Like I
yes.
wake up at 5
I
a.m.
religiously every day?
No, I mean,
5 a.m.?
I wouldn't say every single day, but that's my preferred wake up time.
Time.
It's quiet and I can,
Think,
yes,
put
absolutely.
together your to-do list for the day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people, you can take a page out of the minister's book. Okay, Miss Williams. So Miss Williams has told us that she's a 5 a.m.er. Not that she just gets up and thinks to herself. She actually starts working. So everybody else that works with Miss Williams, if you say you want to work with Miss Williams, be ready for that 5 a.m. text. Good morning, how are you? Do you have such and such ready? Be prepared, all right?
Absolutely.
Everybody else wants to say, Mom, I want a job with... And then you don't realize, hold on there. At 5 o'clock in the morning, this woman has text me. Listen, Miss Williams, I really appreciate this. And I have a different, and I am not afraid to admit it to her, I have a different appreciation for you as a person. And a lot of times when I do see things happening, I'm like, they don't realize that this is actually a good person. Forget about the politics and forget about everything else. We don't tend to think politicians are good people. Miss Williams told me, Prado, I'll be here at 1 o'clock. I got a phone call 12:50 from Rachel saying, Prado, she's going to be there at 1 o'clock, and she was here. And I really do appreciate that, Miss Williams. Okay, so thanks once again. This is our 4th episode with our very honorable Fayval Williams, Minister of Finance and Public Service, and the MP for Eastern Kingston.
Eastern St. Andrew.
Eastern St. Andrew. And also thank you for bearing with us with all the noise from New Kingston. And it was a very interesting, very informative, and very engaging interview, which I enjoyed to the fullest. And I want to thank you again, Miss Williams, for being here and
Thank
your
you
team
so much, yes.
for accommodating us and your very busy schedule. So, folks, get in tuned. Don't follow the nonsense, follow the truth. All right? This is Indepth Podcast with yours truly, Prado. Thanks to Ligani Club again. Thanks to DVC, Digital Video Concept, and their company for helping us. And we want you to continue staying tuned. You don't know who's coming next. Full force. Indepth Podcast.